there's more to life. Embrace life in all its seasons, and you are not really built to be one thing. How you are in terms of your physique, in terms of your look, does not define who you're meant to be in terms of, the future. And so you're able to change your trajectory in life, especially with lifestyle diseases. And that's what we're preaching. It all starts with your plate, with moving, exercise, nutrition, just lifestyle. And then we're able to correct every other thing that we embrace your season and do the most you can and be excellent at it. Excellence is something that I hold dear to my heart. And even the good book says that your gift and your excellence, embrace lifestyle. This is the only body we have. Atukama tutapewa mili ingine mbinguni,
Welcome back, guys, to the session of the human side of medicine, stories from the front line. So, Carol, we've spoken about introduction, tumeona misconception of medicine. Now we're going to beyond the white coat. So, are you able to give us just a story, a patient story that really inspired you when you've been practicing from internal medicine to now obesity, as in, which is the one patient story that really ticked off, and you every time you want to tell someone a story ni hiyo tu ndo unakumbuka?
So there are different ways, and I usually say patients stick with me, especially patients who we've walked the journey with together. And so one in particular was, a gentleman, and especially who had, poorly controlled diabetes, because now that's my field, who was obese. He was 140 kgs, having difficulty in walking and moving around, had other comorbids that comes with weight. That's high blood pressure and others. And so we embraced this lifestyle journey with him, and we walked the journey together, and over and above that, we controlled the diabetes and now obesity medications, and he's done excellently well. He's gotten to the point of diabetes reversal. We are sub 100 in terms of kgs with him. And he's one of the patient success stories, but I can tell you that gentleman works. He does like 10 kilometers every day, because then he's seen the changes and the effect. And so he's usually one motivator of how you are in terms of your physique, in terms of your look, does not define who you're meant to be in terms of, the future. And so you're able to change your trajectory in life, especially with lifestyle diseases. And that's what we're preaching. It all starts with your plate, with moving, exercise, nutrition, just lifestyle. And then we're able to correct every other thing that we're doing.
Okay, that's impressive. And would you say that would be you have patients who have come and they're going through similar things like obesity. They have now newly diagnosed diabetes, and they're at the point of quitting. Would you say is something that you can use to inspire another patient by just giving stories, or how would you inspire another patient with a similar journey? And
so we as humans identify with other human stories, and so definitely yes, showing the progress in terms of photos. This is how we were, and this is where we are at a period of this number of months. But also patient support groups, and we have patients who are very willing and keen to say that I'd like to share my journey with a fellow patient who's having diabetes. And so those are patients who would connect them together and people to just hold your hand. So patient support groups are key. Psychology nephrology, and even our team, our nurse is excellent, to tell patients, we had a patient like this. So you really have to be clear about the team, because these are the people who will be able to be able to hold these patients' hands even when you're not able to.
Okay. I think there's always two sides of the coin.
Yes.
So there's the success patient and who really pumps you up every time you think about it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking also of the patient whose journey really didn't go as planned, and diabetes is one of those conditions that you can really deteriorate to the point of it just patients pass away. So how do you cope with that challenging patient? How is that? How do you carry that journey and walk that journey?
Empathy is key. Okay, and also just realizing as a doctor you can't do everything, and that's where the role of different specialties come about. In terms of, I can manage the diabetes, I can manage the obesity, but I cannot manage the kidneys in terms of nephrology and the heart. And so being quick to refer these patients, so we're not holding on to patients, but also walking through the journey, not only with the patient but the caregivers. We ignore the caregivers a lot, but there's a lot of mental fatigue that comes with caregiving, especially a chronic disease patient. And so for these patients who we journey together, it's also probably preparing them for the outcomes. Okay? And preparing them that will get better or we will not get better at the place that we are at. And so let's keep our house in order. Okay? And I mean, I've had excellent mentors and doctors who pray with their patients, especially when we see that now we're losing life. And I pray with some of my patients who allow me to. I mean, because life is not finite.
We treat, God cures, or how does it go? How God heals. So in that aspect of trying, when you're giving a patient both the good and the bad, and now you want to work with them, do you have patients who truly focus on that bad and doesn't actually, they get stuck there, and now it becomes, how do you manage and get them out of that? Because I know I'm also human, like I can be able to be, man, niko tu na 2 weeks, then I stick to 2 weeks, yet maybe I might be having 5 years to live, as in, how do you get them off that mindset that it's only 2 weeks or it's only 1 year or it's a lifetime, but you can actually enjoy life? Especially now that you have diabetes, you have maybe insulin you're taking, and you have this all the other oral things that maybe it has combined with hypertension and all that. So how do you at least keep that hope alive for a patient, so that at least tomorrow atakuja kuangalia seme, by the doc, nashukuru. How do you keep that hope alive for a patient?
Spending a bit more time with the patient, just an extra 5 minutes to talk to the patient and hearing their story, hearing their fears, and hearing their current state. So it's really communication and empathetic communication, but also counseling and psychology services to these patients. Especially, I know we offer counseling services for our terminally ill patients in terms of cancer, but now we're integrating that into our chronic disease patients, and that's diabetes, hypertension, because you'll likely live with this disease for a while and for long. And so we're big on counseling and psychology for that, and also just making that available to say that we're here to walk this journey with you, right?
I think on that, I saw something on, is it Facebook, or I said someone had posted either in our social or in our WhatsApp group, like, the way you have diabetes and then like there's a name for it, or you can't eat cakes, or you can't do this. So at the end of the day, you're walking with tags all over you, weighing you. And it's very impressive that now we are embracing counseling into diabetes, because I can imagine the pill burden, the stigma. I mean, I really love that you do that, and I hope that, I think it's something that all patients, any patient, even me as a healthy person, needs to embrace going for counseling. Acha kama sijagonjeka, but it's a good thing to, yeah.
So I'm curious to find out, as humans, we kind of get emotionally attached. Have you ever gotten to a point where you were very emotionally attached to a patient's journey? Like, wow, this is like
my
me.
mother.
Yeah, my mother, I'm seeing my mother, or I'm seeing my sibling. Have you gotten such cases? And how did you bring yourself back from attachment to like balancing the professional and the empathy side of you?
Yeah. I mean, before I used to, especially in my internship, I would cry. I would cry, especially when I'd been pediatrics, and you lose children. Probably that's why I couldn't do pediatrics. It used to knock me out. It was hard. Maybe dealing with older people, like now I'm a physician, it's a bit, so earlier on in my career journey, it used to really get, to me, but now I think I've gotten ways to cope, and to also be able to dissociate a bit, especially when it calls for that, because then I don't want to be with my children and I'm teary, and so just dissociate slightly from that. Still, I have to say, deaths still get to me, however old you are, it still does. And now that's the place of therapy and counseling and just decompressing. But it got to a point where, I had to sit down and say that all life belongs to God. Like despite my efforts, if God has chosen to take this person, then it's God, And now that almost removed the guilt and made me move, because then because you can sit in that space of thinking you'd have done more, but probably it was time. But that said, we are called to do as best as we can to the best of our abilities. And like you said, we treat, God heals.
And in that same aspect, have you ever found like a patient that changed how you practice medicine?
In the sense of
like a story, like the way, let's say it was so moving pakani ulibadilisha to how you do things.
Not necessarily. I think when I was setting out to do medicine, it was very clear that these are the values that I embody in terms of empathy, kindness, and it cuts across board. Whether I am seeing you from wherever, I'll be the kind person, I'll be empathetic, I will give you the best care that there is to give. And so I wouldn't say that there was a time a patient changed my way of practicing. So I'd say that has been a constant. Yes, for me. Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. And it's hard. So I really need to commend you, because I think most of us have that life-changing experience in your career, and you swear, I will never do this again, or this is how you approached me, now I'm gonna create this shell, this bubble to protect us. I think that's beautiful. And I think if we can move on to now, you as Carol, what do you enjoy doing beyond the clinic? So your likes, hobbies, cook, travel, what is it that really makes you sparkle?
Dancing. I love dancing. I love dancing. I say probably if I wasn't a doctor, I'd probably be a dancer. I don't know if it will pay, but it would. Do you think so? So I love dancing. I love traveling. I'd probably also be a travel, maybe content creator. I love traveling. I love spending time with my family. I mean, if my husband will pay me enough, I'd be a housewife. Anyway, he tells me that's not possible. But anyway, I love spending time with my family. Right. I don't enjoy housework. I don't enjoy cooking. I'm sorry. I'm not the typical. I mean, and I'm a firm believer in what I'd be able to delegate, then I will delegate and just focus on what brings meaning right now. And for me right now, it's to nurture my family and to bring them up but also do things that I like. I like reading. I like doing my, silent dates or personal dates. I am a very outgoing person in the right environment, and I love people. I really love spending time and talking to people. Right.
So dancing, what kind of dancing?
I dance salsa. I'm a very good salsa dancer. But also any music. I will dance to any music. Yes. But salsa is my go-to.
It's your go-to. Because I know there's like salsa nights where people hang out. Do you at least get time to go for those? Like I know it's sometimes at Move and Peak, sometimes at the village market. There's a restaurant. Yeah, there used to be. Have you had a chance of attending those, or it's just at home with your kids and? Yeah.
No, I don't do that anymore. I mean, I'll be rushing home to see my children, and life is very seasonal, and you have to embrace the seasons that we are in. And that's the thing. In campus, that's where I learned my salsa, and I danced, and you'd find me all those places that have salsa nights. I mean, these days, how are you telling your 2-year-old that you're going dancing at salsa? So life is very seasonal, and so the season you're in, embrace it fully, and because then it will come a time when you can't go, not because you don't want to, but because there are other competing responsibilities. And so we embrace, times and seasons.
I like that we embrace the seasons because it will come. There's a time for everything, as the wise man said, under the sun. And I think maybe as we wrap up our session, maybe you can tell us something you'd wish for patients or people out there to know from you as Carol. Like what are things you'd encourage people just in our normal life as it is nowadays? What are the things you'd want to tell our viewers?
So from the doctor's side, the Dr. Carol part is embrace lifestyle. This is the only body we have. Atukama tutapewa mili ingine mbinguni, Let's treat our bodies with care and respect, and how we do that is eat right and move more. We were designed to move. And that's it. From Carol, the person, is that there's more to life. Embrace life in all its seasons, and you are not really built to be one thing, and that's for me. I feel like the limiting factor for me is time. I'd be so many things at so many moments. The limiting thing is time, but embrace your season and do the most you can and be excellent at it. Excellence is something that I hold dear to my heart, and even the good book says that your gift and your excellence will make you stand before kings, And so even as you do everything, do it as unto the Lord. And that's what I go by.
That's very beautiful. Yeah. I think for anyone who wants to reach out to you, how do we find Evolve Well Wellness Clinic?
Yeah.
Where do we reach you?
Right. So Evolve Well Healthcare is located at Seattle Mall on Campbell Road. We are here Monday to Friday and Saturday half day. And that's how we can reach. I think we'll share some numbers somewhere. Yes. So all socials, that's our website, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Go by Evolve Well Healthcare. And also my personal pages, Dr. Caroline Mithi, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So you're very much in the social media space.
All right.
Thank you for having me and for giving me this privilege to be on your podcast and in your page.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Carol, for joining us for the Knowing Your Medical Maestros. We really appreciate, and we've enjoyed the conversation and also knowing you more beyond just being a medic. And also for our viewers, want to say thank you for joining us. So we'd want to, if you want to have more, please hit the subscribe button down at the door and share. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.